Let's talk fat loss in the face, the good and the bad. Loss of subcutaneous facial fat or lipoatrophy leads to an indentation or loss of the normal convex contours of the face. This is most obvious around the eyes, the temples, the cheeks, the area in front of the ears, and the area around the mouth. Now, in some cases, localized loss of fatty tissue is desirable in the face as it leads to a more chiseled, sculpted appearance, and there are a variety of cosmetic procedures that one might pursue in order to obtain this. However, to be clear, there is no such thing outside of cosmetic procedures as spot reducing fat. There's not an exercise that you can do that will remove fat in any one particular location, whether that be from under your chin, from your rear end, you name it, you cannot spot reduce fat outside of these cosmetic procedures. Outside of these situations though, generalized lipoatrophy, loss of facial fat, leads to a more hollowed, sunken appearance that makes us look, well, wiser than we might like, much older. With more and more patients turning to GLP-1 agonist medications in an effort to help them to lose weight, we're seeing an increased interest in facial fat loss and cosmetic procedures to address facial fat loss. Many people refer to this as Ozempic face. I don't particularly care for that name to describe the loss of facial fat leading to a hollowed, sunken appearance. The reason I don't like it is it implies that the medications themselves directly cause this outcome, when truthfully, you can develop loss of facial fat as a result of weight loss by any means, whether that be diet and exercise, weight loss surgery, or a combination of different methods. Like I said, you can't spot reduce fat, so losing a bunch of weight, losing a bunch of fat, it's going to be lost from the face as well. The facial fat loss can progress to an extent that you actually can begin to see the underlying bones a lot more clearly and the muscle bellies of the facial muscles. But truthfully, progressive facial fat loss is part and parcel of the normal aging process. Starting in our 20s, we begin to experience a decline in facial fat in the temples, around the eyes, and in the cheeks. And once we get into our 30s, we start to appreciate changes in the contours of the face as a result of loss of facial fat. Facial fat distribution is a key distinguishing feature between a young and a quote old face. With age, fat atrophy around the eyes, the temples, and the cheeks occurs, but we also get some increase in fatty tissues in the lower half of the face, as well as under the eyes. In contrast to facial fat loss related solely to weight loss, with age, we have some other things going on that also contribute to how these fatty compartments shrink and move around. It's not just about having good fat in your face. You have to have a good framework to place that. And with age, some of the framework starts to decline. Specifically, you have resorption of bone that anchors that fat in place. Resorption meaning loss of bone, especially around the eyes. Your eye sockets actually get larger. You get some loss of bony structures that lead to a flattening of the cheeks. Fat sinks down. Our jaw moves back. This angle here, known as the mandibular angle, it becomes more obtuse. It gets wider. And again, the fatty tissue descends into the lower face. This is part of normal physiologic facial aging. However, there are certain underlying medical conditions where you can get pathologic lipoatrophy. In contrast to normal physiologic facial aging, which is slow, steady, and symmetric, pathologic lipoatrophy, due to an underlying medical condition, happens a lot more quickly and is often asymmetric. This can occur as a result of underlying autoimmune conditions, namely a subtype of lupus known as lupus profundus or lupus paniculitis. Lupus is an autoimmune condition I have a whole video about. Definitely check it out. There's a lot of info that people don't realize about this condition, including it can affect your fatty tissues and lead to loss of facial fat. There's also a condition known as morphea or localized scleroderma. It tends to happen to one side of the face. Also, certain medications used to treat HIV are notorious for causing lipoatrophy of the face. Is facial fat loss reversible? It depends. People who lose a significant amount of body fat and lose a lot of facial fat, if they put that body fat back on and get to a healthier body fat percentage, the facial fat may be restored, especially in younger individuals who are otherwise healthy. You can see this for yourself if you've ever seen somebody who has dieted down for a bodybuilding competition where they temporarily have to get to a very low and unhealthy body fat percentage for the purposes of a competition. They often lose a dramatic amount of facial fat. Their face looks much different. However, as they begin to recover from that and replenish their fat stores in their face, that goes back, right? It's not permanent. But facial fat loss that happens with age, it's not necessarily reversible. The rate at which it happens depends on a variety of things. Of course, your genetics, because like I've said, anything you don't like about yourself, you can blame your family for. But your lifestyle habits carry a lot of weight in your face, that is. Smoking in particular can accelerate this process, as well as bone resorption with change in the distribution of the fat pads, and also changes the overlying supportive framework of the dermal components of your skin, the deeper layers of your skin, leading to loss of elasticity. Excessive alcohol consumption, eating a diet that primarily consists of processed foods, lacking in fruits and vegetables, low on the polyphenols, can contribute to a more rapid aging process of the whole total body, not just the facial fat. Leading a sedentary lifestyle also doesn't bode well for the aging process, including when it comes to facial fat compartments. I know it's boring, but eating your fruits and vegetables, getting good sleep, not smoking, not drinking alcohol in excess, these things all can pay off dividends in how our body ages, including the facial fat compartments. It's not as though these lifestyle habits will prevent facial fat loss, because again, that's part of the normal healthy aging process, which is not anything that we should shy away from or vilify. Don't make it any more rapid than it needs to be by smoking cigarettes and drinking way too much alcohol, not sleeping. What can be done to restore some lost volume in the face due to facial fat loss? Well, the first thing that might come to one's mind is filler. Hyaluronic acid filler, Sculptra. There are a variety of different options when it comes to filler. Filler is something that is injected to replace lost volume. When it comes to fat loss around the eyes in particular, this can be a tricky situation, and filler may not be appropriate as it is a lot riskier in this location. There's also facial fat transfer. You can borrow fat from, say, your rear end and have it injected under your eye to restore some of the lost fat. This isn't as easy as it sounds. Results are variable. The success depends on, well, how healthy you are. If you're somebody who isn't particularly in good health, you smoke cigarettes, drink too much alcohol, that fat that's harvested from your rear end may not have the ideal balance of growth factors to stay viable when placed under the eye. Also will depend on, of course, your genetics, like other things. The longevity of facial fat transfer is unpredictable as well. If done improperly, it can result in a lumpy appearance, oil cysts, and of course, infection. So when it comes to any cosmetic procedure, always go to a board-certified, licensed physician with expertise in these procedures, such as a dermatologist or plastic surgeon. You may not even be a candidate for this in the first place. Having somebody who's knowledgeable enough to tell you it's not right for you is key. They're not just there to take your money and potentially disfigure you. Let's talk about these topical creams that people are always talking about. Like, they're really popular over on TikTok. I've done videos about them here on YouTube. Products that claim to restore facial fat. Volufill, for example. Do these actually work? Well, if you go back to my video on Volufill, I go over their study on their product, what the results showed, and why I am very skeptical as to if this could even possibly work to restore facial fat. Point out the errors in the methodology of the paper, so definitely check that out for more detailed information. But in summary, it is very unlikely that any topical cream is going to restore facial fat. Plus, keep in mind, just like you can't spot reduce fat, without a cosmetic procedure, it's not very easy to spot restore facial fat either. So putting a cream under your eyes that claims to improve facial fat, which again, very unlikely, how do you know it's not going to cause, say, fatty tumors to grow then? How do you know that it's not going to cause excessive facial fat? How is it that a cream guides exactly the right amount of facial fat growth? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I say, no, these things probably don't work. At best, they moisturize the skin surface, which creates light scattering to make the skin smoother, appear clearer, and mitigates the appearance of hollowness. But you could get that with any moisturizer. I also get a lot of questions, do certain devices cause unwanted fat loss from the face? While there are certain energy-based devices on the market that can target fat to reduce fat, like for example, Cool Sculpting or Morpheus 8, fat targeting is dependent not just on the technology, but the settings used. Devices that can be sold to consumers that are cleared to be safe to use at home are not going to target facial fat or any fat compartment for that matter. I have videos that specifically go into detail with regards to different devices and this topic. For example, I have a video on the red and near infrared light-based devices, the masks, etc. They don't cause facial fat loss. So check that video video out. So why is it that many people say that when they started using some of these devices, they saw that they were developing loss of facial fat? Well, I believe that it is coincident with the normal aging process and normal loss of facial fat as occurs with age. A lot of times people turn to these devices at a time when they're starting to experience the visible signs of skin aging. And along with that comes loss of facial fat. So I think they're sort of guilty by association. Something that would make me more worried that a device was causing true facial fat loss is evaluating the facial fat loss itself. Looking at it with imaging, is it symmetric or is it happening just in the areas where the device is used and sparing other areas? But now that we've touched on unwanted facial fat loss, what about wanted facial fat loss? For example, many people are motivated to spot reduce fat under the chin, a double chin. Well, there's a procedure known as, Kybella injection. Kybella is deoxycholic acid, a compound naturally produced in our body which can dissolve fat cells. And after a series of injections, you can get rid of those fat cells there and shrink down that compartment to have less of a double chin. This can give a more sculpted jawline. In the past couple of years, there has been a rise in popularity with buccal fat removal of the buccal fat pads. I have a whole video about this procedure, and I have serious reservations with this procedure. I think people who pursue it are going to have a lot of regrets potentially down the road, because once you remove these fat pads, there's no turning back. People pursue this procedure in an effort to get a more sculpted, chiseled appearance, but it's also very easy to get a more hollowed, sunken appearance that makes you look a lot older. Check out my video on the buccal fat removal trend, but it can particularly make you look a lot older around the mouth as the skin around the mouth becomes more shrunken and wrinkled in appearance. All right, guys, that's what I wanted to touch on in today's video with regards to facial fat loss. I hope this video was informative and it answered a lot of the questions that I see in the comments here. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.